Hey, gorgeous soul, it's Vix, and this video is for you if you have a social media problem, or if you just want to get off social media, you just need a little bit of help and inspiration in how to take your time back and your life back. If you have ever been in the doom scroll, if you have ever found it difficult to stop scrolling and just take your power back, and slash or if you are a business owner and you're somebody like me who runs your own business and so much of that is happening on social media and you want to take time off but you just feel like you can't because you have to be there because of your work or your business, then this video is for you. So I'm currently taking a social media break, and this is the second big break that I have taken. And at the end of my first break, which was 40 days off social media, I wanted to make a video and share with you some of the things that happened when I took time off socials. I never made that video. That was, I think I did that earlier on in the year anyway. It was months and months ago when I did that, and I felt like I needed to do it again for various reasons, which I'll probably go into in this video. And I thought maybe this would be a really good time to just share with you a little bit about my own path, my own journey with social media, and what I have done and what I am doing to try to overcome it and to try to get to a place where I can use social media for my business, because I know it is very, very valuable for reaching people, for helping people find my work. And also I love connecting with people. I love meeting people. I love chatting with people. I love having the connection. I love all the good things about social media, basically. But as we know, and this is where we're going to begin in the video today, social media has its problems. And how it's affected me in my own life, I could talk about for a very long time. But what I've been finding happening, and I'll talk about like what has been happening for me just before I decided to take this 40 days off socials. So I have been practicing weekends off social media for the last couple of months, and that has been absolutely awesome for me. It has been such a game changer. But even with doing the weekends off social media, and by weekend off social media, I don't mean like, you pretend that you're taking time off social media. And I've done the pretending you're taking time off social media. I have done that so many times. Like, oh, I'm taking a break from social media, but secretly like checking all the time, right? Like it's not really what we want to do. Sometimes that can be like, okay, that's the first step towards taking time off social media, is setting the intention, maybe not quite doing it or getting there, but you're kind of on the journey. So anyway, I've been doing this weekends off socials, and this, for me, this has had to include removing the app from my phone. So if the app is on my phone and I set very strong intention not to go on social media, but the app is there on my phone, I will look at social media. And I am not ashamed to say, although this is like the first time I'm really admitting this publicly, that I have a social media problem, that I'm trying to solve, and I'm trying to heal, and I'm trying to really kind of transform it from being a problem into something that can be really powerful and useful for me, but that does not consume me or control me. So even though I have been taking the app off my phone on the weekends, I have been finding more and more lately that when I have had the app on my phone during the week, that I've been falling into the scroll like so much, like the unconscious scroll. And I'm always quite fascinated about the unconscious scroll because it just sneaks up on you. It just happens, like I can't tell you how many times I've gone on my phone to do something work related, right? Something really, really important. I've got to do this thing for work. I've got to post this thing on Instagram. I've got to check comments or whatever. And I open the app and I like that completely just disappears from my awareness. And suddenly I'm just looking at posts. I'm just scrolling. I am fully going into what I like to call the matrix of social media, right? Like I'm just there. I'm just consuming. And it's interesting that we call it consuming because it's like, are we really even consuming it? Like when we're looking at so many things, when we're scrolling past so many things so quickly, are we really consuming it, or are we just kind of like, I don't know, it doesn't even feel like consumption to me. It just feels like this browsing of like, oh, look at all these things that are happening and all these things that people are doing in the world. So that is something that I have noticed happening more and more lately. When I took my first 40 days off social media and I came back out of it, I put the apps on my phone, but I was not scrolling in that way. Like I was so much more conscious about how I was using my phone and what I was using my phone for. And then, as you kind of go on this journey of, oh, I've just taken time off social media and I'm feeling really like empowered with my social media use. I feel really good and I've got it all figured out. And then, time goes by and things happen and we start to just reach for the phone and look at stuff that we don't even like know what we're looking at, right? Like it's such an unconscious thing for me. Like it's really, I am not in my power when when I'm on my phone. So, I'm scrolling, and then 20 minutes has gone by, half an hour has gone by, and then the voice starts to kind of come back of like, why am I on my phone? Like, what did I even pick this up for? And it's like, oh, okay, yeah, I needed to check this post, or I needed to post this thing, or do this thing for work. And then it's like, okay, then I can pull myself back. I can do what I came to do on social media, and then, okay, close the app, like I've done what I needed to do and close the app. But to lose like half an hour, 20 minutes, half an hour every time that I needed to like check something on my phone, it's just like, okay, this isn't sustainable. This isn't sustainable. And that's not to mention as well, like all of the times that I have picked up my phone without an intention, without something to do online, without a reason, and just been like, oh, I've got nothing to do right now. I'm just going to pick up my phone and look at it. Or I've got lots of things to do right now, which is something that I have noticed myself doing in work. I've got lots of things to do. Like I run my own business. I've got plenty of things to do. I've got plenty of ways to fill my time. And I just reach for my phone and suddenly I'm scrolling, and it's just like, how is this helping me? Like how is this serving and supporting me to be able to run my business, which is supposed to be serving and supporting so many other people? And so I noticed more and more that I was just scrolling a lot, looking at my phone a lot. And then I was also noticing the connection between my emotional state, my mental health, and my phone usage. And some of you may relate to this, but I find that when I am looking at my phone a lot, it's because I'm tired and I'm not feeling like I have a really strong like a really strong vibration, a really strong aura. I'm not feeling really strong in myself. Those are the times when I reach for my phone the most. So when I'm feeling anxious, when I'm feeling stressed, when I'm feeling tired, when I'm feeling like I need a hit, right? When I'm feeling like I need to see the little hearts, and I need to see the little numbers, and I need to see the messages come in, and I need to see that something's happening, and I need to see what everyone else is doing. For me, that usually gets much worse. Like I usually feel that the desire for that hit is so much more when I'm feeling tired or stressed or anxious or just kind of struggling a little bit. And that makes total sense, right? Because it is such a it does give you that boost, it gives you the endorphin rush, it gives you the serotonin, it gives you the like, oh, I've got a message, oh, somebody liked my post, oh, someone commented, all of these things that we have all been so addicted to And I'm kind of hesitant to use the word addiction because I don't want to lessen the experience that people are having with addictive substances and things like that, which are obviously really, really tough. But there is something to be said for social media being an addiction. And I have experienced it on that level where I just feel like, and I was noticing at some point recently, and this is another reason that I was like, I need to take a break, that I couldn't go to bed until I just had a quick look. Like I just needed to have a quick look, before I went to bed. And for me, there's a lot of different things around checking my phone. I have things happening in my life, and I've had things happening in my life where I've needed to keep an eye on my phone in case I got a certain message about something that was important. But you can look at your phone, you can check your messages without looking at Instagram, without going into the scroll of doom and all of these things. So these are some of the things that I'd been feeling lately. And the nervous system connection with social media has been really, really huge for me. And it's like you go into this cycle of, I'm feeling tired, I'm feeling down, I'm feeling stressed. I'm going to look at my phone because it makes me feel better. And then you open your phone, you look at your phone, and you start to see accounts that you like, and you do start to see some content that does make you feel better. And, you see some great quotes, you see some great memes that make you laugh, all of those things. And it's like, oh, yeah, this is cool. This is helping. This is really helping and supporting me. And then you start to see things that are going on in the world. You start to see one of the things that I struggle the most with on social media is the comment section, and looking at how people speak to each other in the comment section. Like I struggle so much with that. When people post something that I disagree with, if it's something that I really disagree with, like on an ethical level, sometimes I may comment, but I kind of reached the point in my life where I'm just like, okay, well, I'm just going to unfollow that person because I'm not here for that. I'm not down with that. So I'll unfollow, unsubscribe, whatever. But it's the comment section of like, even the things that, I do agree with, or just kind of like, well, whatever, either way, there's not really a right or wrong here. It's just a personal preference. You see this all the time, and like magical posts and witchy posts where people are just sharing their own experiences and someone comments and says, you're doing it wrong. So for me, that is like one of the things that just, I start getting sucked in, and then I look at the comments and I read the comments, and it's just like, why am I reading this? Because this is so toxic and so like unhelpful to me and my life in every single way, right? Like, how can it possibly help me to live my life in the way that I want to live my life, to be able to support my community and the people that I read for and that I teach and that I support? How on earth is it going to help me to do that by reading through the comment section on something like divisive comments, hateful comments, but it's like watching a train wreck, right? It's like, you can't look away. You know that it's horrendous. You know that it's like, people are hurt, people are suffering. This is like such a tragedy, but you just like watching it, right? And that's how I feel when I'm on social media a lot of the time. I'm just watching it. Like, why am I doing this? So the nervous system stuff that I wanted to talk about as well is like how it can put you in this fight or flight response. And you see this in the comments. This is what people are doing in the comments, right? They're fighting in the comments or they're flighting. And so my reaction is like, I'm going to leave. I'm going to leave the platform. I'm not going to get off Instagram, even though that would be like the best thing for me in this moment. But what I'm going to do is I'm either going to unfollow this person, block this person, and just like, run from their energy and run from whatever they're putting out there, or we're going to have a fight. We're going to get into the comments and we're going to fight and argue and whatever. And I have done that before, where I have got involved in comment sections, and most of us have, I think, if we're being honest. Maybe not recently, but at some point since we've had social media, we got involved in some comment war that we probably shouldn't have got involved in. And it's not good. And you can feel it in your body, or at least I can when I'm having that experience, right? Like I can feel it in my body, the feeling of like, I've got to say something, and you type it out and then you send it out. And then there's like the anxiety of like, oh, they're going to write back. Someone's going to write back. What are they going to say? And then you're checking to see if they've responded and all of that stuff. And it's like a visceral response. Like your body is just going into this nervous system response of like, I've got to fight this person, and it's just like, wow. So, these are the things that we're dealing with. These are the things that are happening every time we open this app, every time we look at Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, whatever your app of choice is all the same. And I don't think as spiritual people that we really recognize it enough. I think that I find it interesting because we're constantly meditating, we're constantly doing spiritual work, we're pulling cards, we're working on our intuition. And don't even get me started on how being on social media too much completely dampens your intuition. But, we're doing all of this stuff to try to align ourselves to our higher self, to our best and highest good. All of these things that we're trying to do, the way that we're trying to work with magic or witchcraft or just elevating our frequency and our consciousness. And then we're just like addicted to social media. And I think we need to really think about that. And maybe you're not addicted. Maybe you don't. Maybe the things that I'm describing here aren't things that you've experienced. But I'm guessing if you've listened this far, there's probably something in here that you're like, maybe sometimes. So recognizing this is so important. Like, what is social media doing to you? What is social media doing to your energy? So I've found that it is stressing out my nervous system. When I'm anxious and stressed, it's making me more anxious and stressed. It's taking a lot of my time and energy. It takes my time and energy. It's like a black hole. When I go into Instagram and I start scrolling, I just disappear. I just disappear for like 20 minutes, half an hour, sometimes longer. And it's like, what am I doing? And you can do that a couple of times a day. And when you think about how much time you're spending on these platforms, it can actually be really, really scary to realize how much of your life is disappearing into a black hole in the Instagram scroll. And I don't think that's what we're here for. I don't think that we're here to just, have this online experience. I feel like we're here to actually live our lives and do other stuff, right? So I'm very, very interested in finding ways to work with social media that is not going to put me into that space, and is also, I would really like to inspire and empower you and other people who have had problems with social media or are having problems with social media to take time off. To take time off, to get away, to realize that there's so much more to life than just scrolling. And it is damaging to us in so many ways. There is a documentary, if you haven't seen it, and I can't remember what it's called now, but it is a documentary about like the truth of, I think it was mostly Facebook. I'll find the link and I'll post it below here. But there were a lot of things they were saying about how basically, these platforms are created specifically to get you hooked on the platform. Like, they have studied psychology, they have studied gambling, they have looked at how slot machines work. How do slot machines work? They get people addicted, and people sit there all day putting in their money, waiting for the win. And refreshing your feed is the same action. When you refresh your feed at the top of Instagram and you pull down and it's like ding, 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 and it gives you like the next, what's the next thing? I wonder what the next thing is. What's the next post I'm going to see? Is it going to give me that hit? Is it going to be the winner? So it's really interesting. I think it's really important that we know this and that we understand this, that social media has not been created for our benefit. It has been created for the benefit of those who run social media. And that's not to say that we can't use it for our benefit, but we need to be really aware of how it's been created in this way. So if you have a problem with social media, like, it's totally normal and it's not your fault. Like, there are things we can do, and I'm going to talk about those, but it's not your fault if you've got a social media problem, because it's literally been designed to make you addicted to it, which is so sketchy and so messed up, right? So what are we going to do about all of this? What are we going to do? So the first time I took 40 days off social media, I was really, really hesitant. And I, wrote out this post, hey, I'm going to take 40 days off social media. And I'd written out the post a couple of days beforehand, and I was all ready to like send it out. When it came to publishing that post, I was just like so nervous and so anxious about doing that, because I was scared to not be on social media. And it was just like, what's going to happen? And so for me as a business owner, not only do I have questions around, oh, what's going to happen? Like, am I going to lose touch with my friends? Are people, I'm not going to see what people are up to, all of that kind of stuff. But on a business level, on a professional level, it's like, is this going to hurt my business? Is this going to like completely, people are going to forget about me. No one's going to buy anything. Nobody's going to come and book in. Nobody's going to know I exist for 40 days. Like, what is going to happen? But I knew I needed to do it. I had so many messages and so many signs, just guidance saying like, you've got to take time off this platform. So I did. I took the 40 days off. The first couple of days were a little bit rough. And I'm finding that again, like now that I'm doing it for the second time, the first couple of days are hard. And I will admit that the first couple of days that I did 40 days off social media the first time around, I did still look at social media. But I only looked on the laptop, and it wasn't like I'm going to look at the laptop and scroll. It was like, I'm just going to look and make sure that like everything's okay. It's just kind of like an anxiety kind of feeling of like, I just need to see that there's nothing really important happening, like someone hasn't sent me a message about another copycat account or something, all of these things. So I did have a look like the first couple of days. And then after I'd kind of seen for a couple of days that everything's fine, everything's okay, nobody's messaging me, nobody's commenting, nobody cares that I'm not even here, like everything's fine. And then I kind of, slowly was like, okay, now I'm not looking at it actually. Okay, this is cool. So the same things happened this time, where I have actually looked a couple of times, but I'm giving myself grace with that, because I think that it's just part of the process. And because I've done it before, I know that kind of happens. And also, one thing I would say to you, if you're going to try 40 days off social media, don't like beat yourself up. Like if you say, I'm going to do 40 days off social media, you get like 5 days in, you put the app back on your phone, you go into the scroll, you do all of these things. Don't just say to yourself, oh, well, it's too late, I ruined it, I'm not going to bother. Just go, okay, that was interesting that I did that. Why did I do that? What's coming up? Okay, I'm going to start again. And you start again, and you still consider that your 40 days. Okay, you don't have to like, oh, I'm back at day one. I think we really have to give ourselves grace with this stuff. We can't just expect that we can go from, I have a social media problem, to I'm not looking at anything for 40 days at all. Because it can be tough. Like, we do need to ease into it, and we do need to give ourselves grace. So the first time I did 40 days off social media, I had never taken a social media break since the beginning of social media. I had attempted to take a couple weekends off. But at that point, the best I'd done really was like a day off. And then I did say that I was taking like a week off. But I took the app off my phone for a week, but I was looking on the laptop. Not obsessively, but it was kind of like, this wasn't really 7 days off. So the 40 days off social media was like, I've never done this properly, like I've never actually had time off social media since I joined MySpace back in like the early 2000s. This is how, how much time I've spent on social media, right? So it was kind of a big deal. I gave myself a little bit of grace in those first few days. And then I had my 40 days off social media. And I'll tell you what happened in that time. When I sort of was going through it, when I came out the other side of it and I was reflecting on it and posting on social media to tell everyone about my time off social media, I noticed a couple of things. One thing was that I felt less anxious and less stressed. I just felt calmer. I felt more at peace in my body. Just felt like my nervous system had like a really beautiful reset. I just felt like I could breathe. I was just like, it felt better physically, like physically, emotionally, mentally. I just felt better. I felt calmer. I felt just, yeah, I was like, wow, okay, is this how we're supposed to feel? So that was one of the really big things that I noticed. Another thing I noticed was that my intuition got clearer. We talk about this all the time in spiritual community. We're always talking about, I want to develop my intuition. I want to be able to hear my guides and angels better, my own higher self, all of this stuff. And then we just go on social media. And it's like nothing will get in the way of you hearing your guides and your angels and your higher self, like spending too much time on social media. When you go on social media, you're opening a portal and you are receiving all of the thoughts, opinions, ideas, and energy of every single person that you're seeing on that platform. So when you're scrolling, you're like opinions, thoughts, opinions, energy, like everybody else's stuff. You're opening yourself up to that. So one good thing to do can be to like work on your energy protection and do that before you get on social media, before you start scrolling. That's a really nice idea in theory. But most of us are just picking up our phones without thinking about that. If you do energy protection every day, like as part of a morning practice, that can definitely help with the social media stuff. But we've got to remember that this is what's happening. We're getting programmed. We are getting programmed every time we look on social media. Someone's opinions, someone's thoughts, someone's ideas, someone's energy, someone's lifestyle, all of these things, we're taking it all in. We're like little sponges when we're on social media. And then all of that stuff gets into our aura, gets into our energy field. And then we're like, oh, I can't hear my higher self anymore. I can't hear my guides and angels. I'm not really sure what they're trying to tell me. And so some people say that actually when they go on social media, it can be like a spiritual practice and they see all the posts that are most aligned with them. And that's really cool if that's your experience. That has been my experience sometimes, but I feel like if my guides and angels want to get me a message, they can do it so much easier when I'm not on social media, right? Like, they're like, sometimes I'll scroll for like, be scrolling for ages and ages, and then I'll see something and I'll be like, oh, okay, I got to pay attention to that message. But I could have just sat in meditation for like a minute and got that message. It's like they're trying to get it to you, but it's noisy and there's so much energy. And we've got to remember as well that people are posting on social media. Not everybody's posting on social media from like their highest heart, from their highest wisdom and guidance. People are posting on social media for many, many different reasons, but most people have some kind of an agenda. Most posts will have some kind of an agenda. And this is something I've worked on a lot with the way that I use social media to really think about like, why am I posting this? Like what's my agenda on social media? And so a lot of the things I post are like the pick a card readings. My agenda with that is simply A, to be of service, but B, part of the agenda that I have with those posts is that people get to know what I'm like as a reader. And if you resonate with those, maybe you'll book in for a reading with me. Like that's part of why I post those. I'm not just constantly posting free stuff, just, for, hey, here's all this free stuff. And it's great. It's great if you're getting the free stuff. Most people are never going to book in for a reading probably who are receiving those messages. And, I hope that they receive what they need, because it is service work. There is definitely a huge part of what I do on social media that is service work, and it's like I'm just going to share this information, I'm going to share these readings, and hope that it brings blessings to whoever finds it. But also, if there are people who really resonate with it, may they become clients, may they become students, may they come into the inner circle of the New Age hipster world. But we got to remember, so many people on social media are not as spiritually awake and aware as we are. And they're posting with different kind of intention. Some people are posting because they want likes. Some people are posting because they want followers. Some people are posting because they want to sell to you. There's all these different things. So really breaking it down and understanding like what's happening on social media is really, really important. I feel like I'm talking a lot and going off on a lot of like rambles and tangents, but I have so many feelings about this, and I have concerns. I have concerns that we're living in a world where people are just on their phones like all the time. We're spending more time on our phones than we are with our family and our friends in real life. We're spending more time on our phones than we are like doing other things that are important to us. So this is something else that happened in my first 40-day journey, 40 days off social media. Not only did I become more intuitive, I had more time. I had time. I was like, wait, what? I've got time. Like, what am I going to do with this time? And you don't realize how much time you're spending on social media until you stop spending that time there. And so I read more books. Instead of carrying my phone around, like, oh, I've got like a spare 10 minutes, I've got a spare 20 minutes, I've got nothing to do right now, I'm going to pick up my phone and look at my phone, I would pick up my Kindle or pick up a book that I was reading, and I'd actually read books. And it was great because I love reading books. And to me, like, I get so much more out of reading a book that I'm really, really into than a quick scroll. So, whatever your thing is, maybe your thing isn't books, maybe it's something else that you want to do with your time. Maybe you want to knit a scarf, or maybe you want to, I don't know, do some other craft or whatever. I also really noticed that I had more time in my business. I had more time to do work, which, is great. If you have more time to do work, guess what? You also have more time to relax and chill out. And so having more time was really, it was something I really, really noticed. And another thing I noticed was that my self-love improved so much, because I wasn't spending all my time thinking about, oh, I've got to take the perfect photo for Instagram. I've got to take the perfect selfie for Instagram. I was just taking photos because I was out having a good time and wanted a photo of it to remember the day. And that really shifted a lot for me too, because I wasn't thinking about what I looked like, because I wasn't going to share it with anybody. And so that was really huge for me as well. And there's so many other things. There's so many other benefits from getting off social media. And I will tell you more of those at the end of my 40 days that I'm on now. I think I'm only on day 6. I started on the 1st of November. I'm recording this on the 6th of November. So I will pop back in at the end and share with you some new tips and tricks and things that I've discovered. But I want to share with you a couple of tips on how to actually do this. I know this video is long. I try really hard to keep it succinct, but I struggle with that. That's something I'm working on. So how to do it, how to take time off social media. And if you're a business owner, you might want to go slow. You might want to start with just weekends off. This is something that I would absolutely encourage every single person to do, because it has helped me a lot with the way that I use social media. On Friday, after you've posted your last post for the weekend, or you've looked at the last thing that you want to look at, on your Friday afternoon, Friday evening, or any time on Friday, remove the apps off your phone, and do it with a really strong intention of, I'm removing the app off my phone for the weekend. I'm going to put it back on Monday morning. It's 2 days. Nothing is going to happen on social media that is so important that you have to be there within 2 days. The only thing I've found that's challenging and a little bit difficult is stories, because sometimes people post a really beautiful story of like they've read my book or they're working with my deck or something like that. And I had a lot of resistance to taking time off socials because I didn't want to miss that stuff. I wanted to be on there at least once every 24 hours so that I could check those posts. But missing a couple of those posts isn't the end of the world, and people will understand. And it is your mental health and your mental well-being, your spiritual well-being, because this is connected to your spiritual well-being. I don't believe that we can be really conscious, aligned, spiritual, awakened people if we're constantly just scrolling our phone. I just don't think that's how we're going to get there. You may have a different idea. That's okay. That's my personal thoughts on that. So to take a weekend off, you may miss a couple of stories where you get tagged in them, but that's okay. That's okay. Your mental health, your physical health, your nervous system is so much more important than like missing 1 or 2 posts on stories. So take the weekend off, put your app back on your phone. Notice what happens in the weekend. Notice what happens. You won't be on stories. You won't be posting everything on stories. I'm talking a lot about Instagram, but this is for any social media that you have, that you feel like you're on a lot. Come back on Monday, reflect, notice how you felt without being on social media for 2 days, put the app back on your phone, and then notice what it's like to come back onto social media without having been on for a couple of days. I always find that coming back on a Monday is like this really beautiful reset. I do not scroll on Mondays. I find that even when the app is on my phone, I am not getting sucked into the cycle of the scroll. So that can be a really, really good thing to do to help you with your journey of getting off socials, or at least taking some time off socials. It will change the way you think about social media. It will change your nervous system. All of these things. Weekends off are just try it. Just try it and see what happens. Another thing I found really useful is to just go through all of the accounts that I'm following and unfollow accounts that I'm no longer vibing with, or muting accounts where I still want to stay connected to the person, but I'm just struggling with their content right now, not really agreeing or not really getting anything out of it. You got to think about like why you're on social media and what you want to get out of it. What do you want to achieve by being on there? What do you want your experience to be like when you're on socials? How do you want to feel when you're on socials? And these days, whenever I see something that gets posted that I'm just like, oh, I really don't vibe with that, I just unfollow straight away now. I just unfollow or I mute, and I just, move on to the next post. If things are not lighting me up, inspiring me, feeling supportive, helpful, or useful in any way, I'm just like, okay, I don't need to see, I don't need to see this. So that can be something. I'm still working on that, because I was somebody that was like following 2,000 accounts. So I'm still going through the process of like unfollowing, and I'll probably be doing that kind of like in cycles over and over, because you start following new accounts and then 6 months later you're like, well, I don't even follow this account. So it's like a cycle. But unfollowing is amazing, and unfollowing accounts also completely changes your feed. You can unfollow like 5 or 10 accounts and your whole feed will change. You'll start seeing stuff that you haven't seen for a really long time. So that can be a really good way to do it as well. So also try going off socials for 40 days. If you're a business owner, you might have some hesitation in doing this. But from my experience, it didn't really make that much difference. I was still telling people what I was doing via newsletters and YouTube. I'm on YouTube these days. Don't really know why I got back into YouTube, but it's just kind of happened. I guess there's like a bunch of things that I like about YouTube at the moment, actually, where it feels like, hey, I can make a 40-minute video rambling on my thoughts on social media. And it just feels so much better to me to be able to have this space and actually talk about my thoughts and feelings on a topic, instead of just, I got to put it into a reel, or I've got to put it into like however many characters you get on Instagram these days. I've always struggled with that. So being able to share in this way just feels like, hey, I can actually say the stuff that I want to say, you know, instead of trying to fit it into those characters. And then there's always people who misunderstand you. That happens on YouTube as well, because, you know, even on YouTube, you can't say everything that you want to say. But being here feels really different to me. And it also feels very intentional when I watch videos on YouTube. It's very intentional because you look at the title of the video and you say, do I want to spend 20 minutes watching that, or 40 minutes in this case? Maybe not. In which case I don't. You know, I'm not like looking at everything all the time. So, you know, there's ways to share. There's ways to share your business and your work that aren't on social media. Another thing that I've been playing with, and something that I think I'm going to do moving forward, is to not have social media on my phone all the time, but to use Instagram on the desktop more. Because when it's on my phone, I just go down into the scroll hole. Like it just happens. And so I'm really curious, and I don't know how this is going to work. And again, maybe this is something I'll make another video about later on once I've come back from this break. But I'm curious to know what it would be like to have an experience with social media where it's not on my phone, but I can still use it. So I can still post, and I use a scheduling tool for my social media as well. So I can still post about events. I can still do the pick a card readings. I can still post pics and tell people what I'm up to, what I'm offering. I can still share my thoughts and feelings about things, post my tarot spreads up there, but I won't be like constantly posting on stories. I probably will figure out, I guess, how to post reels from the desktop. I know you can do it. I'm a little bit like not as techie as I used to be because I'm getting older now, and I find things a little bit like not as straightforward as they once were. But I know there is a way to post reels. If you know how to do this, please comment it below and like give me some advice on like what apps to use and stuff, like how to do it from the desktop. But you know, it is easy to post a reel from your phone. It's really easy to do that. Maybe I'm just not going to post that many reels, you know, or maybe what I will do, and I'm just having this idea now, is that I'll put the app on my phone once in a while. I will make a bunch of reels, download them to my phone, upload them, you know, when I have time, like when, or schedule them, use the scheduler to upload those. I really want to find a new way of existing in the world that is not a constant obsession with social media. I do not want to be tethered to social media. I want to cut the cord between me and social media. Not the cord of like, hey, here's me sharing good stuff to social media, but I want to cut the cord of like, I do not want to be picking up my phone all of the time and looking at social media. It is not good for me. It is not good for my body. It is not good for my work. It is not good for my community. I have experienced burnout in my business more times than I care to acknowledge or admit to on this video, but it has been hard. It's really hard to be a business owner. It's really, really hard. And this could be like a whole nother video, but I don't think we talk about that enough. Everyone's like, I want to escape my day job because my day job is crippling my soul. So I want to run a spiritual business. And then you start running your spiritual business and you realize that this is work too. This is work too. And it's totally different and it's amazing. And I feel so much gratitude and I feel so blessed to be able to do this. But you can run yourself into the ground. You can run yourself ragged. You can be in fight or flight all the time when you run your own business. And that is not how I want to do things moving forward. And that is not how I want you to live your life. We have to take back our power from these platforms because we are here to really anchor something amazing into this world. We are here. If you're watching this, you are here. We are here together. We are incarnated at this time to really hold some high frequencies on this earth, because it is so, so needed. It is so, so needed right now. And so many people who have the capacity to hold these high frequencies and to do the work on themselves to help and heal other people, to help and heal the planet. So many of these people right now are sucked into a scroll of doom. You're all in a scroll hole, not you watching this, because you're probably like, yeah, Vix, I know, I'm working on it too. But so many people who have the potential to really do the work here and to really live their highest destiny aren't doing it because of social media. That's really how I feel right now. And I want those people to have a break from social media, to open up their crown chakra, to really connect with the truth of who you are, to really connect with your life purpose, and to get out there and do it and make it happen. Maybe social media is part of it. Maybe using social media is a part of how you get your message and your work and your light and your radiance out into the world. But it cannot consume us. It cannot be this thing that just consumes us and stops us from doing our purpose work and stops us from being the bright lights that we need to be in the world. That's why we're here. So that's not to say you never have to look on social media again, and you shouldn't be able to have a scroll and see what your mates are up to and all the accounts that you love that light you up. Like, we should definitely be able to work with those and to look at those and to see them as an incredible blessing in the world. You know, I hope that people look at my social media and go, wow, like I really resonate with this. This has really like made my day a little bit better by this, you know, this pick a card was really accurate, or whatever people are seeing on there. But we've got to do it in a way where we're really conscious about what we're doing. Because I just feel like it's so important. And I know the difference in my energy from scrolling to taking 40 days off social media. It's like completely changes my vibe, completely changes my energy. You want to be high vibe? Get off social media for a weekend or 40 days. If you want to go and do 40 days off social media, send me an email. I want to hear from you. Comment below, but send me an email. I'm vix@newagehipster.co. Email me, get in touch, tell me about your journey, tell me about your 40 days off social media. I would love to hear from you. If you are getting itchy, if you take 40 days off or even a weekend off and you get itchy fingers because you're like, I got to do something on my phone, you save my email address and you send me an email. I don't care if you're out somewhere and you're like, I just need to look at my phone. I'm going to go on my email. I'm going to send Vix an email. She said I could. If I get an email from you that's like, hi Vix, I'm on my phone right now. I'm trying not to go on social media. You said to email you. So that's what I'm doing right now with a bunch of emojis. And I get that in my inbox. I'm down with it. I'm totally down with it. I'm so here for that. And I will send you an email back, and I'll send you lots and lots of love and support on your journey, because this is hard. It's really hard. It's really, really hard. And it's hard for all the reasons that I've said in here. It's hard because, you know, they've created this in a world where they do not want you to take breaks. They do not want you to take breaks. They do not want you to get off the platform ever. They want you to scroll until your death. And that is not what I'm here for. And I don't think that's what you're here for either. So let's take breaks. Let's take time off. Let's be more conscious when we are on there, and let's use social media. Let's use it against them. Let's use it to really bring more light and bring more peace and love and good stuff into the world, rather than just like, hey, I got to post like 3,000 reels today. Otherwise the algorithm's not going to see me. So I have so much more to say on this, and I can't believe I just talked for like 50 minutes. But I have a lot to say about social media. I really, really do. And I'm going to probably talk about it more. So if you're still listening, if you're still watching, I love you. I'm sending you so much love and support on your journey. Send me a message. Ask me about it. Tell me about what's happening with you. I will make another video, and I will try to make it shorter. Telling you how this 40 days was at the end of it. And yeah, if you want to connect in these next 40 days when I'm not on social media, then please do join my newsletter list. I am changing up the way that I'm doing the newsletters, but basically email you twice a month. And yeah, find me on YouTube. Come and watch my epic spiritual rambles on YouTube. Connect with me here. And you can also go over to my blog and you can look at all my blog posts that I've written for ages. The podcast, which I'm taking a break from, maybe never doing again. You can find me there. There's so many ways that we can connect. Send me an email. I'm still here. I'm still around. I'm just not posting on socials or commenting or replying over there. So find me in a different way. And I'm sending you lots and lots and lots of love.